The first gentle rays of morning sunlight creep over the horizon, brushing the pastel facades of houses perched high upon the Amalfi cliffs. Their colors, soft rose, faded ochre, creamy white, are muted in the early light, each one reflecting a history shaped by centuries of salt air and sun. Below, the calm blue sea stretches out, its glassy surface shimmering as dawn unfurls, and the air is tinged with the promise of warmth and the distant tang of salt. Along the terraced hillsides, lemon groves glisten with the last traces of dew. Neat rows of fragrant trees, their boughs heavy with golden fruit, descend toward the sea in gentle steps. The world is quiet except for the faint hum of bees and the soft rustle of leaves. From above, the terraces look like a patchwork quilt, green and gold stitched together by ancient stone walls. Each lemon, plump and bright, tells a story of seasons past and hands that have tended these groves for generations. The fruit destined for the sweet, sunlit liqueur that is a signature of this land. On the water, a solitary fisherman glides in a small wooden boat, his figure silhouetted against the pale blue. The boat rocks gently as he casts his net, the only sound a distant splash and the faint creak of oars. The fisherman's motions are unhurried, practiced, as if time itself has slowed to match the stillness of the morning. The sea, as if holding its breath, remains undisturbed except for the lazy ripples spreading from his boat. Above the harbor, a sleepy café stirs to life beneath a canopy of flowering vines. The air is perfumed with jasmine and the earthy richness of fresh espresso. Locals gather at mosaic-tiled tables, their quiet voices mingling with the clatter of tiny spoons against porcelain cups. The soft clinking is a gentle music, blending with the distant call of seagulls and the occasional laughter that drifts from table to table. Sunlight dapples the ground, filtered through clusters of wisteria and bougainvillea that spill over trellises in cascades of purple and pink. Wandering upward, narrow cobblestone streets wind between whitewashed walls, each turn revealing a new detail: the bright red of geraniums on a windowsill, the faded blue of a weathered door, the gentle arch of a shadow across the stones. The scent of basil and citrus hangs in the air, and the walls echo with the quiet footsteps of early risers beginning their day. Every window seems to tell its own secret, each pot of flowers a silent testament to the care of unseen hands. Old stone steps climb through an olive grove, each tread worn smooth by countless feet. Above, silvery leaves flicker in the sunlight, creating a living tapestry of green and gray. The olives, small and glossy, wait patiently for the harvest, and the ground is patterned with the shifting shade. Here, the world feels ancient and enduring, the silence broken only by the distant toll of a church bell or the coo of a dove nestled in the branches. In the heart of a small town, a market square slowly comes alive. Vendors arrange baskets of ripe tomatoes, figs bursting with sweetness, and sprigs of fresh basil under striped awnings. The colors are a painter's dream: crimson, emerald, violet, set against the rough texture of woven baskets and linen cloths. The air is filled with the murmur of quiet conversation, the gentle bartering that has taken place here for centuries. The market is a living tapestry, woven anew each morning with the rhythms of daily life. Stepping inside a centuries-old church, sunlight streams through stained glass in a kaleidoscope of color. The ancient stones beneath your feet are cool and worn, their surface polished by the passage of time. The air is hushed, scented faintly with incense and beeswax. Light flickers over carved altars and golden candlesticks, illuminating painted saints and silent prayers written in the hush between footsteps. It is a place that holds peace like a treasure, inviting quiet reflection. Nearby, a tranquil courtyard garden offers sanctuary beneath the branches of orange trees. The gentle plash of a fountain echoes softly, blending with the distant song of birds. The scent of citrus blossoms drifts on the breeze, mingling with the earthy fragrance of moss and old stone. Sunlight filters through leaves, creating shifting patterns on the tiled walkways and the smooth marble bench, worn smooth by generations of quiet visitors. Along the alleyways, laundry lines stretch from window to window, bright linens and striped towels swaying in the sea breeze. The gentle flapping is rhythmic, soothing, and speaks of ordinary lives unfolding in this extraordinary place. Each cloth is a banner of daily life, fluttering against a backdrop of stone and sky. In a quiet workshop, shelves are crowded with hand-painted pottery, vivid blues, sun-bright yellows, and deep, leafy greens. The air is tinged with the earthy scent of clay and the faint memory of kill-fired heat. Brushes rest beside unfinished plates, and the slow, careful strokes of an artisan bring ancient patterns to life, each swirl and motif echoing the colors of the land outside. Midday brings sunlight dancing on the turquoise sea near the Marina di Praia, where boats bob gently at their moorings. The water is clear and inviting, the hulls of small fishing boats casting soft shadows on the sea floor. The scene is unhurried, the movement of the boats dictated by the slow rhythm of the tide and the lazy passage of clouds across the sky. A shaded terrace overlooks terraces of vineyards, their leaves rustling softly in the warm breeze. A table waits, set for lunch with rounds of fresh bread, a carafe of golden olive oil, and the promise of ripe tomatoes just plucked from the vine. The air is filled with the sound of bees and the distant hum of conversation, the gentle clink of glasses, and the sweet, grassy scent of the vineyards. A winding path lined with wild rosemary and jasmine curls along the hillside, each step offering a new panorama of the coast below. The scents are intoxicating, sharp and sweet, earthy and floral, and the views stretch endlessly, blue sea meeting sky in a seamless horizon. Here, the only sound is the crunch of gravel underfoot and the distant sigh of the wind. Within a peaceful villa, the bedroom is washed in soft light. Shutters stand open, letting in the scent of the ocean and the faint, melodic peal of distant church bells. The linen on the bed is cool and crisp, and a gentle breeze stirs the sheer curtains, casting shifting patterns across the walls. The room feels suspended in time, a sanctuary of calm. On a cliffside ledge above sparkling water, an artist stands before an easel. The canvas captures the rolling hills, the tumble of houses, the lapis blue of the sea. Each brushstroke is slow and deliberate, echoing the gentle rhythm of the waves below. The breeze tugs at the artist's hair, and the only sound is the soft scrape of charcoal and the quiet flutter of paper. A gentle afternoon rain begins to fall, pattering softly on terracotta rooftops. The droplets tap against ancient stones, pooling in the cracks and running in tiny rivulets down the weathered walls. The scent of rain on warm earth is rich and comforting, and the whole village seems to pause in a moment of calm. Inside, windows glow softly with lamplight, the world hushed and wrapped in a gentle veil of mist. From a nearby bakery, the aroma of fresh bread and golden pastries drifts through the air. In the window, trays of sfogliatal and croissants sit beside glossy tarts, their surfaces glistening with honey and powdered sugar. The baker moves quietly, arranging loaves and cakes with practiced care, each one a small work of art. As the sun begins to set over Ravello, warm light washes across stone terraces and garden pergolas. The sky is painted in hues of apricot and lavender, and the air is thick with the scent of blooming jasmine. The gardens glow softly, the last rays picking out the green of ivy and the delicate white of climbing roses. Lanterns are lit along the seaside promenade, their golden glow reflected in the calm water below. The gentle clatter of footsteps on stone mixes with the distant strains of music, and the low murmur of voices drifts through the night air. The lanterns sway ever so slightly, their reflections dancing in time with the slow movement of the tide. A candlelit table is set for dinner, the flicker of the flame casting soft shadows on bowls of seafood pasta and slices of bright lemon. The air is filled with the faint sound of laughter and the ever-present hush of waves meeting sand. The evening is slow and lingering, the meal enjoyed with gratitude and quiet pleasure. Far above, the coast glows beneath a silvery moon, each tiny village illuminated in the soft light. The hillsides are dotted with pinpricks of gold and silver, a constellation of homes nestled into the dark. The night feels endless, gentle, and safe. In a quiet bedroom, lace curtains drift in the breeze, and a softly glowing lamp casts a pool of light across an open journal. The page is ready for thoughts, memories, or simply a moment of reflection before sleep. The world outside is silent except for the rhythmic sound of the waves. Overhead, stars twinkle above the Mediterranean, their light faintly reflected in the sea. Through an open window, the gentle hush of the tide provides a lullaby, soothing and constant. The night is cool and fragrant, the air filled with the promise of another gentle day waiting just beyond the horizon. And as the first blush of dawn returns, the Amalfi coast lies hushed and serene, its pastel houses and ancient terraces bathed once more in the soft, forgiving light of morning, ready to begin the slow, peaceful cycle anew. Beyond the gentle hush of the night, the world stirs quietly. The faintest blush of dawn begins to gather, blurring the line between sea and sky. Soft light slips through open shutters, washing the walls in a gentle glow, illuminating the delicate lace curtains as they rise and fall in the cool morning breeze. The scent of the sea mingles with the sweetness of orange blossoms drifting in from a nearby courtyard, where dew still clings to the glossy leaves and the faint splash of a fountain marks the slow passage of time. Down the hillside, the terraced lemon groves shimmer in the early light, each tree dusted with drops of silver. The air is fresh, carrying with it the bright tang of citrus and the earthy fragrance of stone warmed by yesterday's sun. Honeybees begin their quiet work, moving from blossom to blossom, their gentle hum a subtle companion to the morning silence. From the window, a distant church bell tolls softly, each note floating on the breeze, accompanied by the low coo of doves in the olive trees. In the square, the market is just beginning to awaken. Baskets of figs, plump and purple, are nestled beside heaps of ripe tomatoes and bunches of basil. The vendors move slowly, setting out their wares with care, their voices low and unhurried. Linen awnings ripple gently in the breeze, casting soft, striped shadows across the cobblestones. The scent of fresh produce mingles with the floral notes of wild rosemary and the faint, powdery sweetness of jasmine trailing along the edges of the path. The narrow streets meander upward, paved with time-smoothed stones, their surface cool beneath wandering feet. Each turn reveals quiet wonders, the red flash of geraniums against whitewashed walls, the faded blue of a wooden door, a tiny shrine tucked into a garden niche. Sunlight creeps across the stones, painting soft arches of shadow, while overhead, laundry lines sway gently, bright linens and towels billowing like cheerful banners. An olive grove crowns the hillside, where ancient trees twist and stretch, their leaves a silvery lacework that flickers in the light. The ground beneath is patterned with dappled shade, and the air is heavy with the promise of ripening fruit. Somewhere nearby, the slow, steady footsteps of someone climbing the old stone steps echo through the silence, mingling with the distant chirp of birds waking in the branches. Further along, a quiet café waits beneath a canopy of bougainvillea and wisteria, their blossoms spilling in cascades of violet and pink. The first guests of the day linger over tiny cups of espresso, the gentle clink of porcelain punctuating the soft murmur of conversation. Spoons circle slowly, stirring in sugar, while the aroma of coffee rises to meet the morning air, mingling with the faint scent of pastries warming in a nearby bakery. Inside the bakery, golden light glows on trays of croissants and delicate sfogliatelle, their flaky layers still steaming from the oven. The baker moves with a quiet rhythm, arranging each loaf and tart in careful rows, their surfaces dusted with sugar and brushed with honey. The fragrance of fresh bread drifts onto the street, inviting the first customers to pause and savor the sweetness of the new day. In the heart of the village, the old church stands serene, its doors open to the soft glow of dawn. Sunlight filters through stained glass windows, casting pools of color on ancient stone floors. The air is cool and still, laced with the faint perfume of incense and beeswax. Wooden pews creak softly under gentle weight, and the hush invites a moment of silent reflection, each breath a quiet prayer for peace. A gentle rain begins, barely more than a whisper, tapping lightly on the terracotta rooftops. The drops gather in tiny rivulets, tracing patterns down weathered walls, pooling where the stones meet the earth. The scent of rain on sun-warmed tile is deep and comforting, promising a day washed clean and renewed. Windows glow softly in the half-light, the world outside blurred behind a veil of mist. As the rain passes, the air brightens and the sea catches the light, turning turquoise and silver beneath a sky brushed with pale clouds. Boats rock lazily at anchor near the marina, their hulls mirrored on the calm surface of the water. The soft slap of waves against wood, the distant call of a gull, and the gentle creak of mooring ropes compose a slow, soothing melody. On a shaded terrace overlooking the vineyards, a table is set with rounds of rustic bread, bowls of golden olive oil, and the red gleam of sun-warmed tomatoes. The leaves of the vines rustle softly, their edges curling in the gentle breeze. The air is filled with the hum of bees and the slow, contented laughter of voices drifting on the wind, each sound softened by distance and sunlight. A winding path, edged with wild rosemary and jasmine, curls along the hillside. The herbs release their fragrance with every step, sharp and sweet, earthy and green. The view stretches out endlessly, blue sea meeting sky, the horizon blurred in a gentle haze. The only sound is the soft crunch of gravel underfoot and the whisper of the breeze through the flowering shrubs. In a quiet villa, the bedroom is filled with the golden hush of afternoon. The bed is made up with crisp linen, the fabric cool against skin, and the shutters stand open to the sound of distant bells and the soft song of birds. Sheer curtains drift in the breeze, their shadows shifting across the walls, while a journal lies open on the bedside table, its pages waiting, patient and inviting. Not far away, an artist stands on a ledge above the sea, sketchbook balanced on an easel. The scene unfolds in slow strokes, the gentle curve of the coastline, the tumble of houses, the endless blue of the water. Each mark is deliberate, unhurried, as the wind tugs at the paper and the sense of salt and sun mingle in the air. Evening comes softly, the sky deepening to hues of apricot and lavender. Lanterns are lit along the promenade, their golden light catching in the gentle swell of the tide. The reflections shimmer and dance on the water, weaving patterns of light that flicker with every movement of the waves. The air is warm, filled with the low murmur of voices, the distant notes of music, and the comforting hush of another day drawing to a close. On a terrace overlooking the gardens, a table glows in the light of a single candle. Bowls of seafood pasta glisten beside slices of lemon, the meal slow and simple, each bite savored with quiet pleasure. Laughter drifts on the breeze, mingling with the ever-present hush of the waves on sand. Above, the hillsides are scattered with the soft glow of distant houses, each one a tiny beacon in the night. The moon hangs low, silvering the rooftops and tracing the outline of the coast. The world feels gentle and infinite, wrapped in the softness of starlight and sea air. In the stillness, stars appear, their light mirrored in the calm water below. Through an open window, the sound of the tide is constant and soothing, a gentle rhythm that fills the room and lulls the mind. The air is cool and fragrant, carrying with it the promise of another slow, peaceful morning just beyond the horizon. Beneath the gentle canopy of night, the world lingers in a state of quiet anticipation, every surface brushed by the softest light. Along the hills, pastel houses seem to float above the sea, their colors faded into dreamlike hues, rose, ochre, and white, each one softened by the hush of darkness. Down below, the water lies still, holding the memory of the day's warmth and the promise of calm. The air, cool and clean, carries the faintest trace of salt, mingling with the sweetness of orange blossom and the delicate perfume of jasmine drifting in from secret gardens. Terraced lemon groves, glistening from the last breath of evening dew, unfurl in gentle steps down the hillside. Each tree is a silhouette, its leaves catching the moon's silver touch, each fruit a quiet promise of brightness waiting for the dawn. Somewhere in the distance, a fisherman's boat rocks gently on the water, lantern casting a golden glow over the glassy surface. The faint sound of oars dipping, the hush of nets cast wide, and the soft creak of wood become a lullaby that floats over the waves. In the heart of the village, an open-air café slumbers beneath a canopy of blooming vines. The tables, mosaic-tiled and cool to the touch, are adorned with empty cups and the memory of laughter. Chairs rest in soft disarray, waiting for the day's first guests. The air is fragrant, espresso and flowers, mingling in the quiet before morning. Shadows cling to the corners, deepening the sense of stillness, while overhead, wisteria and bougainvillea spill in gentle cascades, their petals stirring in the faintest breeze. Cobblestone streets wander between whitewashed walls, threading through the village in a slow, winding dance. Each step is met with the faint scent of basil and rosemary, the rustle of leaves, and the occasional tap of a shutter in the wind. Geraniums brighten the windowsills, their red blooms vivid even in the dim light, while the blue of painted doors and the soft arch of shadows lend the streets a sense of timelessness. In the quiet, one might hear the distant hum of a bee or the tentative call of a waking dove. Stone steps ascend through the olive groves, their treads worn smooth by centuries of gentle passage. The ground is a patchwork of dappled moonlight and shadow, silvery leaves trembling overhead. The olives, small and glossy, cluster in the branches, their shapes outlined against the sky. The air is rich with the earthy scent of sun-warmed soil and the slow exhale of ancient trees. Far off, the bell of a church marks the hour, its sound softened by distance and the softness of night. In the market square, the day's business has faded, leaving only the echo of footsteps and the faint aroma of figs and basil lingering beneath striped awnings. Baskets are stacked in quiet anticipation, their woven sides marked with the memory of bright produce. The cobblestones bear the imprint of countless mornings, each one a gentle repetition, each one unique. Within the cool stone of the old church, colored light spills through stained glass, tracing quiet rainbows across the floor. The air inside is hushed, touched by the faintest scent of incense and the gentle waxy sweetness of candles. The ancient stones are smooth beneath wandering feet, and the silence is a balm, inviting slow breaths and peaceful contemplation. Shadows pool in the corners, softening the edges of carved altars and painted saints. A hidden courtyard, lush with orange trees, offers sanctuary from the world. The branches arch overhead, heavy with fruit, their leaves shining in the faint glow of a nearby lantern. In the center, a fountain murmurs, water falling in endless, soothing patterns. The air is thick with the fragrance of blossoms and the soft, cool scent of moss. A marble bench, polished by time, waits in the shade, its surface cool and inviting. Across alleyways, laundry lines stretch between windows, linens and towels swaying gently in the sea breeze. Each cloth is a soft blur of color, white, blue, and striped, moving with the rhythm of the night. They flutter like banners, marking the quiet presence of unseen lives within the stone walls. In the gentle quiet of a workshop, rows of hand-painted pottery catch the lamplight, their surfaces bright with Mediterranean blues and yellows, deep greens and sunlit golds. The air is tinged with the scent of clay and the faint heat of a cooling kiln. Brushes rest beside unfinished bowls, the patterns echoing the landscape outside, the curl of a leaf, the sweep of a wave, the spiral of a shell. Out on the marina, boats rest at anchor, their reflections clear in the turquoise water. The surface is smooth, broken only by the slow drift of a cloud or the silent passage of a gull overhead. The boats bob gently, each one tethered to the earth by a single rope and the promise of another day. On a shaded terrace, a table is set beneath the vines, waiting for the slow pleasures of lunch. Rounds of bread, still warm, are nestled beside a carafe of olive oil, its golden surface catching the light. The scent of tomatoes, ripe and sun-warmed, drifts on the breeze, mingling with the grassy sweetness of vineyards stretching away in soft green terraces. A footpath, edged with wild rosemary and jasmine, follows the contours of the hillside, each step opening to a new vista of blue and green, sky and sea dissolving at the horizon. The herbs brush against the ankles, releasing sharp, sweet fragrance into the air. The world feels endless, the landscape unfolding in gentle layers, each view a quiet invitation to pause. Within the stillness of a villa bedroom, the shutters stand open, letting in the distant sounds and scents of the sea. The linen is crisp and cool, the bed an island of comfort. Lace curtains drift in the night air, their patterns shifting like the surface of water. The room is washed in the soft glow of a lamp, its light pooling on the open pages of a journal, ready for the gentle tumble of thoughts or dreams. High above the water, an artist stands before an easel, tracing the line of the coast in slow, thoughtful movements. The paper catches the light, each charcoal mark a soft echo of the land and sea below. The breeze moves quietly, carrying the scent of salt and the faint tang of lemons. The only sound is the gentle scratch of pencil, the quiet rhythm of creation. A late afternoon rain begins to fall, gentle and insistent, tapping on the terracotta tiles and running down the old stone walls. The air is thick with the scent of rain on earth, cool and green. Windows glow softly from within, their glass blurred by mist and droplets. The world outside narrows, wrapped in a cocoon of quiet sound. At the edge of a square, a bakery spills golden light onto the street. Trays of pastries, sfogliatal, croissants, and honey-glazed tarts rest in the window, their surfaces dusted with sugar. The air is sweet with the promise of bread, the warmth of ovens, the memory of hands shaping dough in the early hours. As evening deepens, the last sunlight slips over the terraces and gardens. The sky turns to apricot and lavender, soft colors washing the stone in gentle warmth. Pergolas are draped with roses and jasmine, the flowers glowing in the fading light. The hush of twilight settles over the land, every surface touched by peace. Lanterns flicker to life along the promenade, their golden light pooling on the stones and dancing in the gentle swell of the tide. Shadows shift and merge, reflections weaving patterns on the water's surface. The air is alive with the low murmur of conversation, the distant notes of a melody, the soothing hush of waves on sand. On a candlelit table, bowls of seafood pasta glisten beside lemon slices, the scent bright and fresh. The flame casts wavering shadows, and the air is filled with the gentle sound of laughter, the ever-present song of the sea. Each moment lingers, slow and sweet, every gesture unhurried. Up on the hills, the villages are scattered with points of light, each home a beacon against the night. The moon hangs low, silvering rooftops and tracing the gentle sweep of the coast. The world feels suspended, endless and soft, wrapped in the embrace of darkness and distant stars. Within a quiet bedroom, lace curtains catch the wind, a softly glowing lamp illuminating the edges of the room. An open journal rests nearby, its pages inviting quiet reflection, the ink waiting for the shape of gentle thoughts. Outside, the tide breathes in and out, a soothing rhythm that fills the air with comfort. Above, stars shimmer in the deep blue, their light delicate and constant, mirrored in the calm water below. Through the open window, the world feels vast and peaceful, the night cool and fragrant, the promise of another slow, gentle day just beyond the edge of dawn. The hours drift by, each one soft and unhurried, every sense wrapped in quiet beauty and the endless motion of the sea. Soft light drifts through the open shutters, painting the pale walls of the villa bedroom with gentle strokes of morning sun. The linen sheets, cool and crisp, carry the faint scent of lavender and sea air. Lace curtains billow quietly, their edges catching the breeze that slips in across the windowsill, bringing with it the distant music of waves and the delicate tolling of a church bell somewhere up the hillside. The air is cool and fresh, swirling with the sweetness of orange blossoms that bloom in the sheltered courtyard below, mingling with the earthy aroma of sun-warmed stone. Along the winding streets, cobblestones glisten from the dew, each stone worn smooth by countless footsteps. Potted geraniums, their petals bright and cheerful, spill over windowsills, their red and pink blooms a joyful contrast to the soft white of the walls. The narrow alleyways curve gently between old buildings, every corner revealing a quiet moment, a weathered blue door, a faded tile mosaic, a patch of rosemary growing wild along the edge. In the early hours, the market square is a study in calm preparation. Vendors move slowly, arranging baskets of ripe tomatoes, glossy figs, and fragrant basil beneath striped awnings. The produce glows in the soft morning light, dew still clinging to the leaves and fruit. Voices are low and easy, and the gentle rustle of cloth, the soft thump of baskets set on stone, add to the tapestry of sound. The scent of fresh basil, mingling with the sweetness of fruit, drifts on the air. Beyond the square, ancient stone steps climb through an olive grove, their surfaces cool and dappled with shifting sunlight. Silvery leaves flutter overhead, casting dancing patterns on the path. The ground is soft beneath the trees, scattered with fallen olives and the gentle crunch of leaves. In the hush, the subtle song of birds rises and falls, a melody weaving through the branches, while the occasional coo of a dove echoes through the quiet. Terraced lemon groves stretch down toward the sea, each tree shimmering with droplets of dew in the rising sun. The fruit glows gold among the leaves, their scent sharp and clean, promising the brightness of the day to come. Stone walls, ancient and mossy, cradle the terraces, each one shaped by patient hands long ago. Honeybees move from blossom to blossom, their hum a soft undercurrent to the gentle stillness. On the water, a fisherman's boat drifts quietly, its hull mirrored in the glassy surface. The only sound is the slow dip of oars, the faint splash as nets are cast, and the gentle creak of wood as the boat rocks with the tide. Farther out, the sea is a tapestry of turquoise and pale blue, shifting gently beneath a sky brushed with wisps of cloud. The sun rises steadily, warming the air and turning the water to silver. In a quiet courtyard, orange trees arch overhead, their leaves glossy and dark. The air is thick with the scent of blossoms, and the gentle plash of a fountain adds a soothing note. Moss creeps along the edges of old stone, and a marble bench, cool and smooth, rests in the shade. The sound of distant voices is softened by the garden's shelter, and the world here feels timeless, held in a moment of gentle peace. Laundry lines crisscross the alleyways, colorful linens and striped towels swaying in the salt breeze. Each piece of fabric flutters softly, casting shifting shadows on the stone below. The movement is rhythmic, a quiet dance that marks the passage of time and the gentle routines of everyday life. The air is touched by the freshness of soap and the sun-warmed scent of cotton. In a cozy workshop, shelves are crowded with hand-painted pottery. Their surfaces shine with blues as deep as the sea, yellows as bright as lemon blossoms, and greens as soft as olive leaves. Brushes rest beside unfinished bowls, and the faint aroma of clay and cooled kill lingers in the air. Each piece bears the memory of careful hands, the slow creation of beauty shaped in silence. As midday approaches, sunlight sparkles on the sea near the marina, boats bobbing gently at their moorings. Their reflections ripple on the surface, broken only by the slow glide of a gull overhead. The water shimmers with every movement, the color shifting from turquoise to deep blue as the sun climbs higher. The marina is quiet, the world moving at the slow pace of the tide. A shaded trattoria terrace waits, overlooking the vineyards that climb the hills in gentle steps. Rounds of bread, still warm from the oven, rest on a linen cloth beside a carafe of golden olive oil. The table is simple, set with care, and the air is filled with the soft murmur of conversation and the low hum of bees among the vines. The scent of tomatoes, sweet and sun-warmed, drifts on the breeze. Along the hillside, a narrow path winds between rosemary and jasmine. The herbs brush against ankles, releasing their fragrance into the air, sharp and clean, sweet and wild. The path reveals glimpses of the sea far below, blue stretching to meet the sky at a horizon blurred by sunlight. Every view is a gentle invitation to pause, to breathe, to linger in the quiet beauty of the land. In an artist's corner on a cliffside ledge, a canvas waits, the scene of coastline and sparkling water unfolding in slow, thoughtful strokes. The breeze tugs at the paper, carrying the scent of salt and the distant tang of lemons. The only sound is the soft scratch of charcoal, a meditative rhythm that echoes the waves far below. A gentle rain falls, tapping lightly on terracotta rooftops, tracing silver trails down ancient stone walls. The world is wrapped in the hush of water, the air cool and green. Windows glow softly, their light blurred by mist, and the scent of rain on warm tile seeps through the streets, mingling with the promise of bread from a nearby bakery. Inside the bakery, golden pastries line the shelves, their surfaces dusted with sugar and brushed with honey. The air is rich with the warmth of ovens, the sweetness of dough, and the anticipation of the day's first customers. Loaves are stacked in neat rows, their crusts crisp and fragrant, each one a quiet celebration of morning. As the afternoon sun slips behind the hills, warm light washes over stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb the wooden beams, their petals glowing in the golden hour. The gardens are quiet except for the hum of bees and the soft sigh of the breeze, every leaf and flower touched by the fading sun. Evening arrives with the gentle glow of lanterns along the promenade. Their light pools on the stones and dances in the slow movement of the tide. The air is filled with the low murmur of conversation, laughter carried on the breeze, and the distant notes of a melody drifting from a nearby window. A table is set beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta, the scent of lemon and herbs rising with the steam. The sound of waves mingles with soft laughter, every moment lingering, unhurried and sweet. The sea is a black mirror, reflecting the scattered lights of distant villages, each one a gentle beacon on the hillside. The moon rises above the coast, silvering the rooftops and tracing the outline of the cliffs. The villages glow softly, their windows shining against the darkness, the world below wrapped in the quiet of night. The air is cool and fragrant, touched by the scent of garden blooms and the salt of the sea. In a peaceful bedroom, lace curtains drift in the breeze, a softly glowing lamp casting a warm pool of light. An open journal lies on the bedside table, its pages ready for gentle thoughts and quiet memories. The sounds of the night, the hush of the tide, the chorus of distant insects, create a lullaby that fills the room with peace. Outside, the stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water. Through the open window, the world is vast and serene, held in the gentle rhythm of the waves. The night air carries the promise of another day, slow and golden, waiting just beyond the horizon. First light drifts gently over the pastel houses perched on the cliffside, their facades brushed with the faintest rose and apricot, as if the dawn itself were painting them one by one. The sea below lies utterly still, its surface a sheet of soft blue glass that reflects the awakening sky. In this quiet hour, the world is muted and slow, each color softened by the hush of early morning. Down the slopes, terraced lemon groves stretch in orderly steps toward the water, every leaf and fruit cloaked in beads of dew. The lemons glow pale gold among the dark green, their scent mingling with the clean air and the distant salt of the sea. Sunlight slips between the leaves, dappling the ground in shifting patterns, and the soft hum of honeybees rises as they begin their careful work among the blossoms. Near the shore, a lone fisherman stands in his small wooden boat, the hull gently rocking on the glassy water. His movements are unhurried as he casts out his nets, the soft splash barely disturbing the silence. The reflection of the boat, perfect and undisturbed, stretches across the surface, broken only by the slow ripple of oars and the glint of sunlight on the water. In the heart of the village, a sleepy open-air cafe waits beneath a canopy of flowering vines. The tables, cool mosaic tiles under gentle hands, are scattered with tiny cups of espresso, their surfaces catching the first rays of day. Locals linger over their drinks, conversation low and easy, the occasional laughter drifting like birdsong through the stillness. Bougainvillea and wisteria spill in purple and pink, petals trembling in the soft breeze. The narrow streets wind between whitewashed walls, their cobblestones polished by countless footsteps. Every window sill overflows with potted geraniums, their blooms bright against the quiet facade, red and pink and coral dancing in the morning light. The air is rich with the scent of earth and flowers, and from somewhere nearby comes the soft clatter of a shutter nudged open by the wind. Stone steps climb through an ancient olive grove, the path shaded by branches twisting in slow, graceful arcs. Sunlight filters through silvery leaves, dappling the stones with light and shadow. The ground is cool, scattered with fallen olives, and the air is thick with the scent of green fruit and sun-warmed soil. The only sound is the gentle crunch of footsteps, the distant song of a bird waking in the branches overhead. The market square, just beginning to stir, glows with the colors of ripe produce. Vendors arrange baskets of plump tomatoes, figs dusted with bloom, and fragrant basil, their voices low as they greet one another in the hush of morning. Linen awnings ripple in the breeze, stripes of color moving softly against the pale stone. The smells of fruit and herbs mingle, promising the first tastes of the day. Inside the cool sanctuary of a centuries-old church, sunlight pours through stained glass and spills across ancient stone floors. The colors, emerald and ruby, sapphire and gold, dance quietly on the walls and benches, the air hushed and cool. The faint scent of beeswax and incense lingers, and the silence is deep, inviting a slow, peaceful breath. In a secluded courtyard, orange trees arch overhead, their branches heavy with fruit and shadow. The distant sound of a fountain marks the quiet passage of time, water falling in soothing patterns into a moss-lined basin. The stones are cool beneath wandering feet, and the shade is deep, fragrant with blossoms and the faintest trace of moss. Across narrow alleyways, laundry lines stretch from window to window, bright linens and striped towels swaying in the salt breeze. Each piece of cloth moves gently, casting soft shadows on the stone below. The movement is rhythmic, marking the easy routine of the day as sunlight catches on the folds and colors. Within the calm of a ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with hand-painted pottery. Bowls and plates gleam in Mediterranean blues and yellows, each one bearing the careful trace of a brush and the memory of steady, patient hands. The smell of clay and a hint of ash from the cooled kiln linger in the air, and the quiet is deep, broken only by the faint shift of a brush in water. Midday brings a brighter light, sunlight sparkling on the turquoise sea near the marina. Boats bob gently at anchor, their hulls mirrored on the water, the surface broken only by the slow movement of a gull. The air is warm and filled with the scent of salt and the distant trace of rosemary growing wild along the shore. On a shaded terrace, a table is set for lunch, linen cloth soft beneath rounds of fresh bread and a carafe of golden olive oil. The simplicity of the meal invites a slow savoring, each bite marked by the sweetness of sun-ripened tomatoes and the grassy richness of the oil. The air is filled with quiet laughter, the hum of bees among the vines, and the soft clink of glasses raised in gentle gratitude. Winding between the terraces, a narrow path is edged with wild rosemary and jasmine, each step releasing a new wave of fragrance, sharp, clean, and sweet. The view opens in gentle panoramas, blue sea and sky stretching to the horizon, the world below softened by distance and light. The only sound is the whisper of the breeze and the faint, rhythmic crunch of gravel underfoot. Within a peaceful villa, the bedroom is a sanctuary of calm. Shutters stand open, letting in the scent of the ocean and the distant music of church bells drifting on the wind. Crisp linen covers the bed, and sheer curtains move softly in the air, their shadows shifting across the walls. A journal rests nearby, pages waiting for quiet thoughts and gentle reflections. High above the water, an artist stands on a ledge, sketchbook balanced against the breeze. The coastline unfolds in slow, thoughtful strokes, each curve and shadow, each patch of sunlight captured in charcoal and pastel. The scent of salt and lemons drifts in the air, and the only sound is the soft scratch of pencil, an echo of the waves far below. A gentle afternoon rain begins, tapping lightly on terracotta tiles and tracing silver lines down the old stone walls. The world narrows to the hush of water, the air cool and green, windows glowing softly behind a veil of mist. The scent of rain on warm earth is deep and comforting, promising a restfulness that stretches through the afternoon. Inside a local bakery, golden light spills onto the street, illuminating trays of pastries arranged in careful rows. The aroma of fresh bread fills the air, crisp crust, soft crumb, and the sweet promise of honey and sugar dusted across delicate tarts. The warmth of the ovens is a gentle embrace, and each loaf and pastry is a quiet celebration of the morning's work. As the sun dips low, warm light washes across stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb wooden beams, their petals glowing in the last rays of the day. The garden is quiet, every leaf and flower touched by gold, the hum of bees slowing as evening settles. Shadows lengthen, and the air is rich with the sweetness of blossoms and the faint trace of wine from distant vineyards. Lanterns glow along the promenade, their light a soft chain of gold reflected in the gentle rise and fall of the tide. The surface of the water shimmers, catching each flicker and weaving it into a tapestry of movement and color. The air is alive with the low murmur of voices, the sound of footsteps on stone, and the soft music that drifts from a nearby window. A candlelit table waits beneath the stars, bowls of seafood pasta glistening beside slices of lemon. The scent is bright and clean, touched with herbs and sea air, each bite savored in the slow comfort of the evening. Laughter drifts on the breeze, mingling with the hush of the waves and the quiet song of the night. Far above, the coast is a patchwork of moonlit villages, each cluster of houses glowing softly against the dark hillside. The rooftops are silvered by the moon, the outlines of terraces and gardens blurred by shadow. The world is hushed, the only sound the gentle breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a quiet bedroom, lace curtains drift in the gentle night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a pool of light across the room. An open journal lies ready, its pages inviting the slow tumble of thoughts and dreams. The world outside is silent, wrapped in the rhythm of the tide and the soft chorus of distant insects. Through the open window, stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the dark water below. The air is cool and fragrant, touched by the sweetness of jasmine and the salt of the sea. Each breath is slow and easy, every sense wrapped in the promise of another gentle morning waiting just beyond the horizon. The light of dawn returns with quiet certainty, coloring the world in soft, forgiving hues. The pastel houses along the cliffs glow in the early sun, their walls painted by the first blush of day. The terraced lemon groves stretch down to the shore, each tree sparkling with dew, each leaf and fruit a bright promise in the morning light. A fisherman's boat drifts near Positano, nets cast wide over the glassy water. The only sound is the dip of oars, the slow ripple of the sea, and the distant call of a gull riding the breeze. Farther up, the village stirs to life, cafe tables filling with the gentle clatter of cups and the low hum of conversation, the scent of espresso rising to meet the new day. Narrow streets wind through whitewashed buildings, each corner shaded by vines and brightened by the color of geraniums in full bloom. The cobblestones are cool beneath wandering feet, the air filled with the promise of sun and the sweetness of basil growing wild along the edges. Stone steps lead upward through olive groves, sunlight flickering through silvery leaves, the path quiet except for the occasional flutter of a bird or the soft murmur of the breeze. The world above is endless sky and shifting shadow, the ground below dappled with light and the memory of countless gentle mornings. In the square, baskets of fruit glow beneath striped awnings, the day's harvest set out with quiet care. The market is slow and easy, the air filled with the scent of figs and tomatoes, the sound of soft voices and the rustle of linen. The old church stands serene, sunlight streaming through windows of colored glass, the air cool and still, echoing with the quiet footsteps of those who come to pause and reflect. The stone is ancient and smooth, the silence deep and soothing. A garden courtyard offers shade and sanctuary, orange trees arching overhead, their blossoms fragrant in the warm air. The fountain's song is a soft thread of sound, water falling in endless, soothing patterns, the surface of the basin broken only by the occasional drift of a petal. Laundry lines sway in the breeze, colorful fabric moving gently against the sky, casting shifting shadows on the walls below. The air is touched by the freshness of soap and the sun-warmed scent of cotton, the movement a quiet dance that marks the slow passage of the day. Pottery glimmers on crowded shelves, each piece a small celebration of color and form, painted by hand and shaped by patience. The workshop is quiet, filled with the scent of clay and the faint warmth of the kiln, each bowl and vase bearing the memory of creation. Midday light shimmers on the water near the marina, boats rocking gently, their reflections bright against the turquoise sea. The world moves at the slow rhythm of the tide, each moment unfolding with careful grace and peaceful certainty. Soft rays of morning stretch across the pastel facades clinging to the cliffside, their surfaces painted in delicate strokes of rose and apricot. The sea below gleams in the new light, a tranquil sheet of blue that extends without end, mirroring the soft awakening sky. Dew glistens on the terraced lemon groves that tumble in gentle steps toward the shore, each leaf and fruit touched by the cool breath of dawn. The scent of lemons drifts lightly, mingling with the salt of the sea and the faint sweetness of nearby blossoms. A fisherman glides quietly across the water in his small wooden boat, the oars dipping in slow, measured rhythm. Nets are cast with practiced hands, sending ripples across the glassy surface, the only disturbance in the morning's calm. Seabirds circle overhead, their wings catching the light, their calls softened by distance. Beneath a tangle of flowering vines, an open-air cafe stirs to life. Tables of colored mosaic tiles invite quiet company, the air filled with the gentle clink of porcelain and the low murmur of conversation. Espresso steam curls upward, carrying with it the warmth of roasted beans. Locals linger, savoring the first sips, their laughter a low melody woven through the stillness. Winding cobblestone streets nestle between whitewashed walls, the paths twisting gently up the hillside. Every window is bright with potted geraniums, their blooms vivid against the stone, flashes of red and pink and coral illuminated by the rising sun. The air is fragrant with basil and rosemary from gardens hidden behind blue-painted doors. Stone steps ascend through ancient olive groves, each tread worn smooth by generations passing in quiet procession. Sunlight filters through a canopy of silvery green, dappling the ground in shifting patterns. The olives, small and glossy, hang in clusters, their scent mingling with the warmth of earth and the cool of morning. In the market square, striped awnings flutter gently above baskets brimming with tomatoes, figs, and fresh basil. Vendors move with unhurried grace, arranging their wares beneath the soft glow of early light. The air is rich with the scents of ripe fruit and herbs, the sounds of conversation as familiar as the stones beneath their feet. Inside the aged church, sunlight pours through stained glass, casting quiet patterns of emerald and ruby across the cool stone floor. The air is still, touched by the faint memory of incense and beeswax, and the hush invites slow, steady breaths. Shadows linger beneath carved altars, the silence deepening the sense of sanctuary. A hidden courtyard is sheltered beneath the arching branches of orange trees, their leaves glossy and dark against the pale stone. The fountain at the center murmurs softly, water slipping over mossy marble into the shaded pool below. The air is thick with the fragrance of citrus and the subtle cool of moss, the only sounds the distant echo of footsteps and the gentle fall of water. Laundry lines stretch from window to window across narrow alleys, linens and towels moving in the slow rhythm of the breeze. Each cloth is a soft flutter of color, white, blue, and striped, casting gentle shadows on the sun-warmed stone below. The scent of soap lingers, mingling with the freshness of cotton and the salt of the morning air. In the quiet ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with hand-thrown bowls and plates, each piece painted in vivid blues and yellows, greens as soft as olive leaves. Light from the window falls across their surfaces, catching the subtle shine of glaze, the memory of careful hands shaping clay. The gentle scent of earth and cooled kill drifts through the silence. Sunlight dances on the turquoise waters near the marina, boats rocking gently at anchor, their reflections clear and bright. The sea is alive with every shimmer, the movement slow and unhurried. Farther up the slope, a terrace shaded by vines overlooks the vineyards, a table set with fresh bread and golden olive oil. The linen is cool beneath the touch, and the air is alive with the hum of bees among the vines. A narrow path meanders between rosemary and jasmine, their leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. Each step releases a new wave of fragrance, sharp and wild, sweet and clean. The view opens in quiet panoramas, sea and sky melting together, hillsides softened by light, the world below fading into haze. Within a peaceful villa, a bedroom waits in gentle stillness. Shutters stand open to the breeze, the scent of the sea drifting in, mingling with the distant toll of church bells. Crisp linen sheets are cool and inviting, a journal resting open on the bedside table, its pages ready for the quiet thoughts of a slow morning. High above the water, an artist stands before an easel, tracing the shifting line of coast and sea with steady hand. The paper catches the light, charcoal and pastel capturing every curve and shadow, every glimmer of sunlight on distant waves. The breeze tugs gently at the canvas, the only sound the soft scratch of pencil, a quiet echo of the world below. A gentle rain begins, the sound a soft patter on terracotta tiles and ancient stone. The air is cool and green, windows glowing softly from within, their panes blurred by silver droplets. The scent of rain on earth is deep and sweet, promising a peaceful afternoon wrapped in quiet. A bakery glows golden in the heart of the village, trays of pastries and loaves stacked in neat rows behind glass. The air is thick with the aroma of bread, crisp crust, warm crumb, the hush of flour and honey and sugar. Each pastry is a small celebration, shaped by careful hands in the hush of early morning. As the day wanes, the sun slips behind the hills, casting a warm wash across stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb the beams, their petals glowing in the gentle light. The garden is peaceful, the hum of bees fading as shadows lengthen and the air fills with the sweetness of blossoms. Evening brings the glow of lanterns along the promenade, reflections dancing in the soft rise and fall of the tide. The water shimmers with every flicker, the surface a tapestry of gold and blue. The air is alive with the low murmur of voices, the distant notes of music drifting from open windows, the sound of laughter blending with the hush of the waves. A table waits beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta, the scent bright with lemon and herbs. The air is touched with the warmth of companionship, the gentle clink of glasses, every moment savored in the slow comfort of the evening. Far above, the coast is a ribbon of moonlit villages, each cluster of houses glowing softly against the dark hillside. Rooftops are outlined in silver, gardens and terraces blurring into shadow. The world is quiet, shaped by the gentle breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. Within a bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a lamp casting a warm glow across the room. The journal lies open, waiting for thoughts to settle onto its pages. Outside, the tide whispers, a steady lullaby filling the air with peace. The stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water below. The hours drift by in slow procession, each one wrapped in quiet beauty. The scent of jasmine and the salt of the sea mingle in the darkness, the promise of another gentle day waiting just beyond the horizon. The world is vast and serene, every surface softened by the hush of night, every breath an invitation to rest. Soft light gathers once more along the gentle sweep of the coastline, brushing the pastel facades of houses clinging to the cliffs. Their colors, rose, apricot, pale gold, seem to glow from within as the first hush of morning settles over the sea. Below, the water is a tranquil blue, unmoving and mirror-like, holding the reflections of the waking sky and the soft silhouettes of distant boats. Terraced lemon groves, heavy with dew, shimmer in the early light. Each leaf and fruit is beaded with silvery droplets, the air around them alive with the crisp, clean scent of citrus and earth. A gentle breeze stirs, sending a faint rustle through the leaves, while honeybees begin their slow, measured journey from blossom to blossom, their hum a quiet thread woven into the calm. On the water, a solitary fisherman stands in his wooden boat, the hull rocking gently in the pale morning stillness. His nets stretch in graceful arcs above the surface before settling with a soft splash, sending out ripples that shimmer in the growing light. Seabirds circle above, their wings glinting as they glide in lazy spirals, their calls softened by distance and the thick, drowsy air. Nestled beneath a tangle of flowering vines, a small cafe begins to stir. The tables, their mosaic tiles cool beneath gentle hands, catch the sunlight in tiny sparks. Espresso steam curls upward in the quiet air, mingling with the sweet scent of wisteria and the earthy aroma of fresh coffee. Locals sit in slow conversation, voices low and easy, their laughter drifting out like music into the empty streets. Cobblestones wind between whitewashed walls, their surfaces worn smooth by countless footsteps. Geraniums burst from every window box, splashes of red and pink against the soft white, their leaves glossy with the memory of night's dew. The air is sweet with basil and rosemary, their fragrance carried on the breeze from gardens tucked behind painted doors. Stone steps climb through groves of ancient olive trees, each one twisting in slow, graceful gestures toward the sun. The ground is cool and soft with fallen leaves, light and shadow flickering across the stones. The gentle crunch of footsteps blends with the distant song of a bird, the world quiet except for the subtle movement of branches in the morning wind. In the square, striped awnings flutter above baskets filled with ripe tomatoes, glossy figs, and fragrant basil. Vendors set out their wares with careful hands, the colors deep and rich in the soft light. The air is full of the promise of the day's first tastes, sweet fruit and bright herbs, bread waiting to be dipped in golden oil. Within the cool sanctuary of the old church, light spills through colored glass, scattering pools of ruby and emerald across the ancient stones. The air is still, scented faintly with beeswax and the memory of incense. Shadows linger beneath carved arches, the silence deep and restful, inviting slow, steady breaths. A courtyard waits in tranquil shade, orange trees arching overhead, their blossoms releasing a sweet perfume. The gentle plash of a fountain marks time, water slipping over mossy stone and gathering in a quiet pool. The stones are cool beneath wandering feet, and the hush of the garden is broken only by the distant call of a dove. Across narrow alleyways, laundry lines stretch from window to window, linens and towels moving in the rhythm of the wind. Each piece is bright against the sky, their colors shifting with the light, the scent of soap and cotton lingering in the morning air. In the quiet of a ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with bowls and plates painted in the deep blues and golds of the coast. The glaze catches the light, each piece holding the memory of patient hands and silent hours. The faint aroma of clay and cooled kill floats in the stillness, the brush resting in a jar, the work paused in peace. Midday arrives with sunlight sparkling on the turquoise sea near the marina. Boats bob gently at anchor, their reflections broken only by the slow glide of a gull or the ripple of an oar. The air is warm and bright, filled with the scent of salt and rosemary growing wild along the shore. On a shaded terrace overlooking the vineyards, a table is set in simplicity, bread warm from the oven, olive oil golden and fragrant, tomatoes gleaming with the last of the morning dew. The linen is cool beneath gentle hands, and the air is alive with the hum of bees among the vines, laughter rising softly in the slow comfort of lunch. A narrow path winds between rosemary and jasmine, their leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. The scent is sharp, sweet, wild, carried on the breeze as the view opens to the endless blue of the sea below and the sky above, the world a gentle panorama fading into haze. In a peaceful villa, shutters stand open to the salt air and the distant music of church bells. Crisp linen sheets carry the faint scent of lavender. A journal rests open on the bedside table, its pages waiting for quiet thoughts. The only sound is the slow drift of the breeze and the faraway hush of waves. An artist stands on a cliffside ledge, sketchbook balanced against the morning wind. The coastline unfolds in slow, thoughtful lines, each curve and shadow, each glint of sunlight captured in charcoal and pastel. The breeze tugs at the page, the only sound the soft scratch of pencil, a quiet echo of the world below. Clouds gather and a gentle rain begins, tapping softly on terracotta rooftops and tracing silver trails down ancient stone. The air is cool and green, windows glowing softly behind misted glass. The scent of rain on warm tile drifts through the streets, promising afternoon restfulness. In the bakery, golden pastries fill the window, their surfaces dusted with sugar and brushed with honey. The air is thick with the warmth of ovens, the sweetness of dough, and the comfort of bread fresh from the hearth. Loaves are stacked in neat rows, each one a quiet celebration of morning. Toward evening, the sun sets behind the hills, casting a warm, forgiving light across stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb the wooden beams, their petals glowing in the last rays. The garden is still, bees drifting home as shadows lengthen, the air rich with blossoms and the faintest hint of wine from distant vines. As night falls, lanterns glow along the promenade, their golden reflections dancing in the gentle swell of the tide. The water shimmers, a tapestry of color and movement, while the air is filled with the low murmur of voices and the distant strains of music. Footsteps echo on the stones, laughter mingling with the hush of the waves. A table waits beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of pasta bright with lemon and herbs. The air is touched by the warmth of friendship, the soft clink of glasses, each moment lingering in the slow comfort of the night. The world is quiet, the sea a black mirror reflecting the scattered lights of distant villages, each one a gentle beacon against the hillside. The moon rises above the coast, silvering rooftops and tracing the outlines of terraces and gardens. Villages glow softly, their windows shining in the darkness, the air cool and fragrant with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and the salt of the sea. The only sound is the gentle breathing of the tide, the distant song of a night bird carried on the breeze. In a quiet bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a warm pool of light across the walls. An open journal rests nearby, its pages holding the soft tumble of dreams and gentle memories. The world outside is silent, wrapped in the rhythm of waves and the slow chorus of distant insects. Through the open window, stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light delicate and constant, mirrored in the calm water below. The hours drift by, each one soft and unhurried, every breath an invitation to rest. The night is deep, the air cool and sweet, the promise of another gentle morning waiting just beyond the horizon. First light glimmers softly across the facades of houses perched high above the sea, their colors, rose, peach, pale gold, warming slowly as the sun rises beyond the horizon. The windows catch the faintest blush of dawn, each pane reflecting a gentle promise of the day to come. Below, the sea is a tranquil sweep of blue, so still it seems to hold the sky itself, the surface broken only by the ripple of a distant boat. Dew clings to the terraced lemon groves, each leaf and fruit sparkling in the early light. Rows of trees descend in careful steps toward the shoreline, their branches heavy with golden fruit. The air is crisp, filled with the scent of citrus and earth, the soft hum of bees beginning their measured work among the blossoms. In the distance, the Mediterranean shimmers, a vast and gentle mirror, its colors deepening as the sun lifts higher. A fisherman sits quietly in his wooden boat, the hull rocking in slow rhythm with the tide. His nets arc gracefully through the air before settling into the glassy water, sending ripples that move outward in perfect, widening circles. Seabirds glide overhead, their wings catching the early light, their calls softened by distance and the hush that lingers over the coast. Nestled beneath a canopy of flowering vines, a café stirs in the cool of morning. Tables of mosaic tile are scattered in the shade, espresso cups steaming gently in the hands of locals who greet the day in low, easy voices. The aroma of coffee mingles with the sweetness of wisteria and the faint salt of the sea, laughter drifting like a quiet melody through the stillness. Cobblestone streets wind gently between whitewashed buildings. Each stone is worn smooth by years of footsteps, the way ahead dappled in shifting patterns of sun and shadow. Geraniums spill from every windowsill, their blooms vivid, crimson, fuchsia, coral, each petal bright against the quiet facades. The air is fragrant with basil and rosemary, gardens hidden behind painted doors, their scents carried on the morning breeze. Stone steps climb through groves of ancient olive trees, trunks twisted in slow, elegant arcs. Sunlight filters through silvery leaves, dappling the path in pools of gold. The ground beneath is cool, scattered with olives and the memory of gentle rains. In the hush, the gentle crunch of footsteps is joined by the distant song of a bird, the world above a canopy of green and light. The market square comes alive as awnings striped in faded colors flutter in the breeze. Baskets are filled with tomatoes, plump and red, figs dusted with bloom, and sprigs of basil gathered in the early hours. Vendors move with unhurried grace, arranging their wares and trading quiet greetings. The air is thick with the scent of ripe fruit, earth, and the first warmth of the sun. Within the sanctuary of the old church, sunlight pours through stained glass, scattering jewel tones across ancient stone. Ruby and emerald, sapphire and gold move softly over the floor and benches. The air is cool, touched by the faint memory of beeswax and incense, the silence deep and restful, echoing with the quiet footsteps of those who come to pause and breathe. A garden courtyard offers shade beneath the glossy leaves of orange trees. Their blossoms release a gentle perfume, mingling with the subtle cool of moss and the soft, rhythmic sound of water from a distant fountain. The stones beneath are cool and smooth, the hush broken only by the flutter of a dove's wing and the falling of petals into the still pool. Across narrow alleyways, linen lines are strung from window to window, bright towels and sheets moving gently in the breeze. Their colors, white, blue, striped, shift with the light, casting soft shadows on the sun-warmed stone below. The scent of fresh cotton and a trace of soap lingers in the air, the movement of the fabric a quiet dance in the slow passage of the morning. In a calm ceramic workshop, shelves are lined with bowls and plates painted in the deep blues and golden yellows of the coast. Each piece is shaped by patient hands, the glaze catching the light in subtle, shifting patterns. The air is filled with the gentle scent of clay and the memory of the kiln, now cool and silent. Brushes rest in a jar, the work paused, the silence deep and comforting. Midday sunlight glances off the turquoise waters near the marina, boats bobbing gently at anchor. Their reflections tremble in the water, broken by the slow passage of a gull or the ripple of an oar. The air grows warm, scented with salt and the wild rosemary that grows along the rocky shore. Laughter carries from a shaded trattoria, where a table is set with fresh bread, olive oil gleaming in the light, and tomatoes sliced and waiting. A narrow path winds between rosemary and jasmine, their leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. Each step releases a new wave of fragrance, sharp, wild, and sweet, mingling with the distant sound of the sea far below. The view opens in gentle panoramas, the world a patchwork of vineyard and sky, blue fading into blue until sea and horizon are indistinguishable. In a peaceful villa, the bedroom is quiet and cool. Shutters stand open, letting in the scent of the ocean and the distant echo of church bells. Crisp linen sheets are soft beneath the touch, the faintest trace of lavender still clinging to the fabric. A journal rests open on the bedside table, its pages offering a haven for quiet thoughts and gentle reflection. High above the water, an artist stands at the edge of a cliff, sketchbook balanced against the morning breeze. The coastline stretches in a slow, deliberate line, each curve and shadow traced in charcoal and pastel. The soft scratch of pencil is the only sound, a quiet echo of the waves far below and the rustle of leaves overhead. Clouds gather and a gentle rain begins, each drop tapping lightly on terracotta roofs and tracing silver trails down time-worn stone. The air is cool and green, the world softened by a veil of mist. Windows glow with warm light behind softened glass, the scent of rain on earth drifting through narrow streets. In the heart of the village, a bakery glows golden, trays of pastries and loaves waiting behind clear glass. The aroma of fresh bread is a gentle embrace, crisp crust, warm crumb, the whisper of flour and honey resting in the air. Each pastry is a small celebration, shaped with care and quietly offered to the day. As the sun slips behind the hills, its light washes across stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb the beams, petals gleaming in the last, gentle rays. The garden is peaceful, the hum of bees now a memory, shadows lengthening as the air fills with the sweetness of blossoms and the distant promise of wine. Evening arrives, lanterns glowing along the seaside promenade. Their golden reflections shimmer on the surface of the water, each light a tiny star flickering in the gentle swell. The air is alive with the low murmur of voices, footsteps on stone, and the distant melody of music drifting from open windows. A table is set beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta and slices of lemon. The scent is bright and clean, touched with herbs and the salt of the sea. Laughter drifts on the breeze, mingling with the hush of waves and the quiet song of the night. Above, the coastline is a ribbon of moonlit villages, houses glowing softly against the dark hillside. Rooftops are traced in silver, gardens and terraces fading into gentle shadow. The world is hushed, shaped only by the breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a tranquil bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a gentle pool of light across the walls. An open journal lies ready, its pages waiting for dreams and quiet memories. Outside, the tide whispers, a steady lullaby filling the air with peace. Stars shimmer high above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water below. The hours drift by in slow procession, each one wrapped in the softness of darkness and the cool sweetness of the night. The air carries the mingled fragrance of jasmine and the salt of the sea, every breath slow and easy. Soft light gathers once more along the edge of the coast, brushing the pastel facades of houses resting on the cliffs. Their colors seem to glow with quiet life as the first hush of morning returns. The sea below a gentle blue, still and endless, reflecting the pale sky and the waking world. The promise of another gentle day lingers in every shadow, every breath, every soft flutter of linen in the dawn breeze. The first hush of morning lingers in narrow streets, where soft light slips between whitewashed walls and climbs the gentle curve of cobblestones. Each stone is cool beneath wandering feet, touched by the memory of countless dawns. Geraniums spill in cascades of red and coral from window boxes, their leaves glossy with dew. The air is quiet, carrying the faint sweetness of basil and the distant echo of sea salt. as if the whole village breathes in slow, peaceful rhythm with the tide below. On the edge of a terrace, lemon trees gather the dawn, their leaves trembling with beads of silver. Golden fruit hangs heavy, casting round shadows on the earth and scenting the breeze with sharp, clean promise. Bees begin their morning journey, drifting from blossom to blossom in lazy arcs, their hum barely rising above the hush. The terraces fall away in careful steps, guiding the eye down to where the sea waits, blue and endless, gentle as breath. Near the shore, a fisherman's boat moves almost without sound. The oars dip in slow, practiced rhythm, sending faint ripples across the glassy water. Nets arc through the air, catching a brief shimmer of sunlight before settling with a sigh. The surface of the sea holds the pastel colors of houses above, each reflection a soft echo of rose and gold, blurred by the gentle movement of the tide. At a quiet cafe tucked under flowering vines, mosaic tiled tables are set beneath the shade. Steam curls from cups of espresso, the aroma warm and earthy. The laughter of neighbors floats in easy waves, low and unhurried, mingling with the clink of porcelain and the rustle of morning newspapers. Wisteria spills in clusters of violet, petals brushing lightly against shoulders as they stir in the breeze. Steps climb through an olive grove, sunlight dappling the path in shifting patterns. The trunks twist in ancient silence, their bark silvered by age and rain. Above, leaves shimmer pale green, and the world is filled with the soft whisper of branches. The ground is scattered with olives, small and smooth and dark, and the scent beneath the trees is cool and deep, carrying the memory of earth and gentle rain. Beneath striped awnings in the market square, vendors arrange baskets of tomatoes, their skins glowing red and gold. Figs cluster in soft purples, their scent sweet and ripe, and basil leaves glisten with the last of the night's dew. Voices murmur in quiet conversation, the sound as familiar as the stones underfoot. The air is rich with the mingling fragrances of fruit and herbs, sunlight warming every surface. Inside the old church, sunlight pours through stained glass, painting the floor with slow-moving pools of emerald and ruby. The cool air is touched by the faint memory of incense and beeswax, and each footstep is a gentle echo in the silence. Shadows gather beneath carved arches, and the hush deepens, inviting a pause, a breath, a moment of peace. A courtyard waits in tranquil shade, orange trees arching overhead. Their blossoms perfume the air, mingling with the subtle coolness of moss and the soft, steady sound of water falling from a distant fountain. The stones are smooth beneath resting feet, and sunlight slips through the leaves in shifting patterns. A dove coos softly from a hidden perch, the sound drifting on the breeze. Laundry lines stretch across quiet alleyways, linens and towels moving in the slow rhythm of morning. Each piece is bright against the sky, white, blue, striped, casting gentle shadows on the sun-warmed stone below. The scent of fresh cotton and a trace of soap lingers, the fabric's movement a silent dance in the breeze. In the calm of a ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with bowls and plates, each painted in blues deep as the sea and yellows bright as sunlight. The glaze gleams softly, catching the early light in subtle reflections. The air is filled with the quiet scent of clay and the memory of the kiln, now cool and silent. Brushes rest in a jar, the work paused for a peaceful moment. Midday glances off the turquoise water near the marina, where boats float at anchor, their reflections trembling with the gentle movement of the tide. The air is warm, touched with salt and the wild scent of rosemary that grows along the rocky shore. From a shaded trattoria, laughter drifts out to mingle with the hum of bees among the vines. A table is set with fresh bread, olive oil golden and fragrant, tomatoes sliced and gleaming in the light. A narrow path winds between rosemary and jasmine, their leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. Each step releases a wave of fragrance, sharp, wild, and sweet, carried on the breeze. The view opens in soft panoramas, sea and sky blurring together, the world below fading into blue and gold. In a villa bedroom, shutters stand open to the slow breath of ocean air. Crisp linen sheets hold the faint scent of lavender, and a journal lies open on the bedside table, its pages waiting for quiet thoughts. The only sound is the distant music of church bells and the hush of waves meeting the shore, a gentle accompaniment to the stillness within. On a cliffside ledge, an artist stands before an easel, tracing the slow lines of the coast. Charcoal moves across the paper, capturing the shifting light and the endless horizon. The breeze tugs gently at the sketchbook, mingling with the distant sound of gulls. Each mark is patient, quiet, a reflection of the steady sea below. Clouds gather and a gentle rain begins, the sound a soft patter on terracotta rooftops and ancient stone. The air turns cool and green, windows glowing softly behind misted glass. The scent of rain on earth is deep and sweet, promising restfulness and quiet. In the heart of the village, a bakery glows behind golden panes, trays of pastries and loaves stacked in neat rows. The aroma of bread, crisp crust, warm crumb, honey, and flour fills the air, each bite a small celebration of the day. As the sun begins to set behind the hills, warm light washes across stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb wooden beams, their petals glowing in the last golden rays. The garden is quiet, every leaf and bloom touched with evening's hush. The hum of bees fades, replaced by the low song of distant birds and the gentle sigh of wind through branches. Lanterns begin to glow along the promenade, their lights reflected in the gentle rise and fall of the tide. The water shimmers, weaving the flickers into a tapestry of color and movement. The air is alive with the low murmur of voices, footsteps on stone, and the distant notes of music drifting from open windows. A table is set beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta and slices of lemon. The scent is bright and clean, touched with herbs and the salt of the sea. Laughter rises in the evening air, mingling with the hush of waves and the quiet song of night. Far above, the coast is a patchwork of moonlit villages, each cluster of houses glowing softly against the dark hillside. Rooftops are outlined in silver, the outlines of terraces and gardens blurred by shadow. The world is hushed, the only sound the gentle breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a quiet bedroom, lace curtains drift in the gentle night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a pool of light across the walls. An open journal lies ready, its pages inviting the slow tumble of thoughts and dreams. The world outside is silent, wrapped in the steady rhythm of the tide and the soft chorus of distant insects. Through the open window, stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the dark water below. The air is cool and fragrant, touched by the sweetness of jasmine and the salt of the sea. Each breath is slow and easy, every sense wrapped in the promise of another gentle morning waiting just beyond the horizon. The light of dawn returns with quiet certainty, coloring the world in soft, forgiving hues. The pastel houses along the cliffs glow in the early sun, their walls painted by the first blush of day. The terraced lemon groves stretch down to the shore, each tree sparkling with dew, each leaf and fruit a bright promise in the morning light. A fisherman's boat drifts near Positano, nets cast wide over the glassy water. The only sound is the dip of oars, the slow ripple of the sea, and the distant call of a gull riding the breeze. Farther up, the village stirs to life, cafe tables filling with the gentle clatter of cups and the low hum of conversation, the scent of espresso rising to meet the new day. Narrow streets wind through whitewashed buildings, every corner shaded by vines and brightened by the color of geraniums in full bloom. The cobblestones are cool beneath wandering feet, the air filled with the promise of sun and the sweetness of basil growing wild along the edges. Stone steps lead upward through olive groves, sunlight flickering through silvery leaves, the path quiet except for the occasional flutter of a bird or the soft murmur of the breeze. The world above is endless sky and shifting shadow, the ground below dappled with light and the memory of countless gentle mornings. In the square, baskets of fruit glow beneath striped awnings, the day's harvest set out with quiet care. The market is slow and easy, the air filled with the scent of figs and tomatoes, the sound of soft voices and the rustle of linen. The old church stands serene, sunlight streaming through windows of colored glass, the air cool and still, echoing with the quiet footsteps of those who come to pause and reflect. The stone is ancient and smooth, the silence deep and soothing. A garden courtyard offers shade and sanctuary, orange trees arching overhead, their blossoms fragrant in the warm air. The fountain's song is a soft thread of sound, water falling in endless, soothing patterns, the surface of the basin broken only by the occasional drift of a petal. Laundry lines sway in the breeze, colorful fabric moving gently against the sky, casting shifting shadows on the walls below. The air is touched by the freshness of soap and the sun-warmed scent of cotton, the movement a quiet dance that marks the slow passage of the day. Pottery glimmers on crowded shelves, each piece a small celebration of color and form, painted by hand and shaped by patience. The workshop is quiet, filled with the scent of clay and the faint warmth of the kiln, each bowl and vase bearing the memory of creation. Midday light shimmers on the water near the marina, boats rocking gently, their reflections bright against the turquoise sea. The world moves at the slow rhythm of the tide, each moment unfolding with careful grace and peaceful certainty. Soft rays of morning stretch across the pastel facades clinging to the cliffside, their surfaces painted in delicate strokes of rose and apricot. The sea below gleams in the new light, a tranquil sheet of blue that extends without end, mirroring the soft awakening sky. Dew glistens on the terraced lemon groves that tumble in gentle steps toward the shore, each leaf and fruit touched by the cool breath of dawn. The scent of lemons drifts lightly, mingling with the salt of the sea and the faint sweetness of nearby blossoms. A fisherman glides quietly across the water in his small wooden boat, the oars dipping in slow, measured rhythm. Nets are cast with practiced hands, sending ripples across the glassy surface, the only disturbance in the morning's calm. Light gathers softly along the gentle rise of the cliffs, washing the pastel facades of houses in delicate hues of apricot and pale rose. Their shutters stand open to the morning air, letting in the scent of salt and citrus that drifts up from the sea below. Dew clings to every leaf in the terraced lemon groves, droplets catching the sun and sparkling like beads of glass. The trees descend in tidy rows toward the water's edge, their branches heavy with golden fruit, each grove alive to the slow hum of waking bees. On the water, a fisherman moves with practiced quiet, his boat gliding over the glassy surface. The oars dip and rise, sending careful ripples outward, and his nets arc through the air with a whisper, settling into the calm. The only sounds are the distant call of a gull and the soft slap of water against the hull, blending into the hush of morning. Flowering vines spill over the trellis of a small cafe, their blooms painting the air with faint notes of wisteria and jasmine. Locals gather at mosaic-tiled tables, their voices low and unhurried, fingers curled around cups of dark espresso. The steam rises and mingles with laughter, the clink of porcelain a gentle counterpoint to the rustle of petals overhead. Cobblestone streets twist between whitewashed walls, their surfaces worn smooth by years of gentle footsteps. Geraniums burst from every sill, their crimson and coral blooms vivid in the soft light, leaves glossy from the coolness of night. The air is sweet with basil and rosemary, carried from hidden gardens behind painted doors. Stone steps climb through ancient olive groves. The path is dappled with shifting gold as sunlight filters through silvery leaves. Trunks twist in slow spirals, their bark gnarled by time, and the ground beneath is soft with fallen olives. The breeze stirs the branches, a faint, leafy music above the quiet crunch of footsteps. The market square opens beneath striped awnings, baskets of tomatoes and figs arranged with care. Basil leaves glisten with moisture, their fragrance mingling with the earthy sweetness of fruit. Vendors move with gentle purpose, trading morning greetings as they set out today's harvest. The air is alive with promise, every color and scent a quiet celebration. Within the old church, sunlight streams through windows of colored glass. The patterns shift across ancient flagstones, pools of emerald and ruby inching slowly across the floor. The air is cool, touched by the faint, familiar scent of beeswax and the memory of incense. Shadows gather beneath high arches, the silence deep and restful, inviting a moment of stillness. A garden courtyard provides a haven of shade, orange trees arching overhead. Their blossoms release a delicate perfume, drifting through the air with the trickle of water from a distant fountain. Moss clings to the stones, and sunlight dances in small, bright patches. A dove coos from a hidden perch, its call echoing softly through the leaves. Across narrow alleyways, laundry lines stretch from window to window. Linens and towels sway in the sea breeze, each piece a bright splash of color against the sky. The scent of soap and sun-warmed cotton lingers, the quiet movement marking the slow rhythm of the morning. In a ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with bowls and plates, each one painted in deep cobalt and sunlit yellow. The glaze gleams in the soft light, catching hints of the sea outside. The air is filled with the memory of the kill, now cool and silent, and the faint, earthy aroma of clay. Brushes rest in a jar, their work paused in patient peace. Midday arrives as a shimmer on the turquoise water, boats bobbing gently at anchor near the marina. Their reflections quiver in the warmth, broken only by the passing of a gull or the ripple from a distant paddle. On a shaded terrace, a table is set with thick slices of bread, golden olive oil, and tomatoes sliced fresh from the vine. The linen tablecloth is cool beneath gentle hands, the laughter of diners rising softly above the hum of bees among the vines. A narrow path winds along the hillside, flanked by wild rosemary and jasmine. Each step brushes leaves that release their fragrance, sharp and sweet, mingling with the distant scent of salt and sun. The view opens to a panorama of sea and sky, the horizon a soft blur of blue, the world below a patchwork of vineyard and stone. Within a villa, the bedroom is hushed and cool. Shutters stand open to the ocean air, carrying the far-off sound of church bells. Crisp linen sheets hold the faintest trace of lavender, and a journal lies open on the bedside table, its pages waiting for gentle thoughts as the morning passes in quiet certainty. On the cliff's edge, an artist stands before an easel, tracing the slow lines of the coast. Charcoal moves across paper, capturing the subtle shifts of light and shadow, the endless roll of the horizon. The breeze tugs at the canvas, mingling with the distant call of gulls and the hush of waves far below. Clouds gather and a gentle rain begins, each drop pattering softly on terracotta rooftops. The air is cool and green, the scent of rain on warm stone rising through the village. Windows glow with soft light behind misted glass, and the world settles into a deeper quiet, the rhythm of the rain promising afternoon restfulness. The bakery's windows glow golden, trays of pastries and loaves stacked in neat rows behind the glass. The aroma of bread, crisp crust and warm crumb, honey and flour, fills the air, each bite a quiet comfort. The baker moves with practiced ease, dusting sugar over golden pastries and placing them gently on trays. As the sun dips behind the hills, warm light washes over stone terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb the wooden beams, petals glowing in the last golden rays. The garden is still, the hum of bees now a memory, shadows lengthening as the air fills with the fragrance of blossoms and the distant promise of evening. Lanterns glow along the promenade, their reflections dancing across the gentle rise and fall of the tide. The water shimmers with color and movement, each light a small star flickering in the dusk. The air hums with quiet voices, footsteps on stone, and the distant notes of music drifting from open windows. A table is set beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta bright with lemon and herbs. The scent is clean and bright, touched with salt and the warmth of laughter rising in the gentle night air. The hush of waves and the quiet song of the sea settle around the gathering like a soft blanket. Above, the villages are soft islands of light, rooftops edged in silver, terraces and gardens blurring into shadow. The world is quiet, shaped only by the breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a tranquil bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a lamp casting a warm pool of light across the walls. A journal lies open, pages waiting for the slow tumble of dreams and gentle memories. Outside, the tide whispers, a steady lullaby filling the air with peace. Stars shimmer above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water below. The hours drift by, each one soft and unhurried, every breath an invitation to rest. The night is deep, the air cool and sweet, the promise of another gentle morning waiting just beyond the horizon. When dawn arrives, it does so softly, coloring the world in forgiving hues. The pastel houses along the cliffs glow in the new light, their walls painted in the first blush of day. Terraced lemon groves stretch down to the shore, each tree sparkling with dew, each leaf and fruit a bright promise in the morning light. A fisherman's boat drifts quietly, nets cast wide over the glassy water. The only sound is the dip of oars, the slow ripple of the sea, and the distant call of a gull riding the breeze. Farther up, the village stirs, cafe tables filling with the gentle clatter of cups and the low hum of conversation, the scent of espresso rising to meet the new day. Narrow streets wind through whitewashed buildings, every corner shaded by vines and brightened by the color of geraniums in full bloom. Cobblestones are cool beneath wandering feet, the air filled with the promise of sun and the sweetness of basil growing wild along the edges. Stone steps lead upward through olive groves, sunlight flickering through silvery leaves, the path quiet except for the occasional flutter of a bird or the soft murmur of the breeze. In the square, baskets of fruit glow beneath striped awnings, the day's harvest set out with quiet care. The market is slow and easy, the air filled with the scent of figs and tomatoes, the sound of soft voices and the movement of linen. The old church stands serene, sunlight streaming through colored glass, the air cool and still, echoing with the quiet footsteps of those who come to pause and reflect. A garden courtyard offers shade and sanctuary, orange trees arching overhead, their blossoms fragrant in the warm air. The fountain's song is a soft thread of sound, water falling in endless, soothing patterns, the surface broken only by the occasional drift of a petal. Laundry lines sway in the breeze, colorful fabric moving gently against the sky, casting shifting shadows on the walls below. The air is touched by the freshness of soap and the sun-warmed scent of cotton, the movement a quiet dance that marks the slow passage of the day. Pottery glimmers on crowded shelves, each piece a small celebration of color and form, painted by hand and shaped by patience. The workshop is quiet, filled with the scent of clay and the faint warmth of the kiln, each bowl and vase bearing the memory of creation. Midday light shimmers on the water near the marina, boats rocking gently, their reflections bright against the turquoise sea. The world moves at the slow rhythm of the tide, each moment unfolding with careful grace and peaceful certainty. On a shaded terrace, lunch is a quiet affair, fresh bread, golden olive oil, slices of tomato glistening in the light. The table is set with simple care, the hum of bees among nearby vines a gentle undercurrent to the laughter and low voices that fill the air. A path lined with wild rosemary and jasmine climbs the hillside, the leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. Each step releases a new wave of fragrance, sharp, sweet, and wild, mingling with the distant sound of the sea far below. The view opens in gentle panoramas, the world a patchwork of vineyard and sky, blue fading into blue until sea and horizon are indistinguishable. In a peaceful villa, the bedroom remains cool and shaded. Crisp linen sheets are soft beneath the touch, the faintest trace of lavender still clinging to the fabric. Through open shutters, the distant sound of church bells drifts in, mingling with the hush of waves meeting the shore. On the cliff's edge, an artist works in the hush of morning, the coastline unfolding in slow, deliberate lines. The page fills with the gentle sweep of hills, the soft haze of distant water, the light shifting as the sun climbs. Each mark is patient, quiet, a reflection of the world's slow awakening. A gentle rain arrives, falling in a fine mist over rooftops and olive trees, tracing silver paths down ancient stone. The air is cool and green, the scent of rain on earth and tile drifting through the village. Windows glow softly, their warmth a promise of comfort, as the world settles into a deeper peace. In the bakery, golden pastries fill the shelves, each one glistening with honey or dusted with sugar. The aroma of bread lingers, thick with the warmth of ovens and the sweetness of dough. Each loaf is a quiet celebration, the work of careful hands and the slow patience of time. As evening draws near, the sun sets behind the hills, its light washing over terraces and garden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb wooden beams, their petals glowing in the last golden rays. The garden grows still, shadows lengthening as the air fills with the fragrance of blossoms and the faintest hint of wine from distant vines. Lanterns are lit along the seaside promenade, their glow reflected in the gentle rise and fall of the tide. The water shimmers, weaving the flickers into a tapestry of color and movement. The air is soft with voices, footsteps on stone, and the distant melody of music drifting from open windows. A table beneath the stars is set for dinner, candlelight flickering across bowls of pasta bright with lemon and herbs. The scent is clean and bright, touched with salt and the warmth of laughter rising in the gentle night air. The hush of waves and the quiet song of the sea settle around the gathering, drawing the world into peaceful stillness. Above, the coast is a ribbon of moonlit villages, each cluster of houses glowing softly against the dark hillside. Rooftops are traced in silver, terraces and gardens fading into shadow. The world is quiet, the only sound the breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a tranquil bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a gentle pool of light across the walls. An open journal lies ready, its pages inviting the slow tumble of thoughts and dreams. The world outside is silent, wrapped in the steady rhythm of the tide and the soft chorus of distant insects. Stars shimmer high above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water below. The hours drift by in slow procession, each one wrapped in the softness of darkness and the cool sweetness of the night. The air carries the mingled fragrance of jasmine and the salt of the sea, every breath slow and easy, every sense wrapped in the promise of another gentle morning just beyond the horizon. Soft light drapes itself over the pastel houses nestled high above the gentle blue of the sea, each facade touched by the quiet blush of dawn. Shutters stand half open, their paint worn smooth by salt air and time. The world below stirs slowly, a hush of waking so delicate it barely disturbs the endless hush of the horizon. Along the slopes, terraced lemon groves glisten with the last beads of dew, their green leaves and golden fruit catching the early sun. A faint, sweet sharpness drifts upward, the promise of sun-warmed citrus mingling with the timeless breath of the ocean. Beneath the cliffs, the water is still, a mirror for the sky. A fisherman glides across the surface in a small wooden boat, his silhouette quiet against the shimmer. Oars dip in slow rhythm, the only sound a gentle ripple trailing behind. Nets drift out, catching the light in fleeting silver arcs before settling into the calm. The morning stretches unhurried, each moment unfolding with the ease of practiced hands and the soft certainty of tradition. In a nearby cafe, shaded by tangled vines heavy with blooms, locals gather at mosaic tile tables. The air hums with low voices, the steam from rich espresso curling into the cool air. Flowers spill over the edge of the awning, their petals brushing shoulders in a delicate caress. Laughter is soft, the clink of cups a gentle punctuation to the morning's peace. Streets twist between whitewashed walls, their cobblestones worn smooth by years of steps. Potted geraniums blaze red and coral on every windowsill, their leaves glossy with the last of the night's damp. The air is sweet with basil and the faint tang of sea salt, a quiet invitation to linger among the shadows and light. Old stone steps curve upward through an olive grove, sunlight falling in shifting patterns across the path. The trunks are ancient, their bark silver and gnarled, leaves trembling in the slightest breath of breeze. Olives lie scattered in the grass, dark and small, the earth beneath cool and rich with the scent of rain and roots. A bird calls in the distance, its song threading the silence. In the square, striped awnings ripple above baskets piled high with tomatoes, figs, and basil, each arranged with quiet care. The vendors' voices are low, the language of daily ritual soft and familiar. The colors are vivid, red, gold, purple, green, each fruit and leaf a gentle celebration of the sun's slow return. Sunlight pours through the stained glass windows of an old church, spilling ruby and emerald across ancient flagstones. The cool air inside smells faintly of beeswax and incense, the hush broken only by the soft echo of footsteps. Shadows gather beneath high arches, a place for quiet reflection and the slow drift of time. A courtyard waits in tranquil shade, orange trees arching overhead. Their blossoms lend a sweet perfume to the air, mingling with the sound of water falling from a distant fountain. Moss clings to the stones, sunlight dancing in small, bright pools. A dove coos from a hidden perch, the sound a soft thread winding through the morning. Laundry lines stretch above narrow alleyways, linens in white and blue and faded stripes swaying gently in the sea breeze. Each piece moves in a slow, silent rhythm, casting shifting shadows on sun-warmed stone below. The scent of soap and cotton is fresh, the movement a quiet ballet against the sky. Inside a ceramic workshop, shelves are crowded with bowls and plates painted in deep cobalt and bright yellow. The glaze catches the light, a gentle gleam recalling the sea and the sun. The air holds the memory of fired clay, brushes resting quietly in their jar, the work paused in peaceful waiting. Midday finds the turquoise sea alive with the shimmer of reflected light. Boats bob at anchor near the marina, their hulls bright against the water, each reflection trembling with the tide's movement. The air is warm now, touched by the wild scent of rosemary growing along the rocky shore. A trattoria terrace rests in cool shade, overlooking the gentle rise of vineyards on the hills. The table is set with slices of bread, golden olive oil pooling in small dishes, tomatoes glistening freshly cut. The cloth is crisp and white, the laughter of those gathered soft against the hum of bees among the vines. A narrow path climbs the hillside between rosemary and jasmine, their leaves brushing softly against passing ankles. The breeze stirs their fragrance, sharp and green, sweet and wild, each note drifting out to sea. The view opens in quiet grandeur, the world below a patchwork of vineyard and stone, the horizon a gentle blur of blue. Within the villa, the bedroom remains a sanctuary of calm. Shutters are open to the ocean air, carrying the distant echo of bells and the hush of waves. Crisp linen sheets hold the faintest trace of lavender, and a journal lies open by the bed, its pages ready for the slow tumble of thoughts. The stillness is complete but for the occasional flutter of curtain in the soft breeze. On the cliff's edge, an artist stands at an easel, the coastline unfolding in patient lines of charcoal and pastel. The sun shifts above, changing the color of water and stone, the world revealed in gentle gradations of light. The sound is only the brush of pencil and the distant call of a gull. A gentle afternoon rain begins, falling in a fine mist over terracotta rooftops and old olive trees. Each drop traces a silver path down ancient stone, the air turning cool and green. Windows glow softly from within, their golden warmth a quiet promise as the village settles into a deeper hush. The scent of rain on earth is sweet, mingling with the dampness of moss and the memory of sun-warmed tile. In the bakery, trays of golden pastries fill the shelves. The aroma of bread lingers, yeasty, warm, touched with honey and the sweetness of dough. The baker moves in practiced rhythm, each loaf a small testament to patience and care. The bell above the door rings softly as neighbors enter, voices low in the peace of afternoon. As the sun slips behind the hills, its light washes across stone terraces and wooden pergolas. Roses and jasmine climb in tangled profusion, petals glowing in the last golden rays. The garden is quiet now, the hum of bees replaced by the soft sigh of wind in the leaves and the distant promise of evening. Lanterns are lit along the seaside promenade, their light weaving gold across the water's gentle surface. Reflections dance in the tide, small stars flickering in the dusk. The air is soft with the sound of voices, footsteps slow on sun-warmed stone, the melody of music drifting from an open window. A table is set beneath the stars, candlelight flickering across bowls of seafood pasta and slices of lemon. The scent is bright and clean, herbs and salt mingling with the promise of laughter. The hush of waves and the quiet song of the sea wrap the gathering in gentle companionship. Above, the coast is a string of villages glowing softly against the dark hillside, each rooftop traced in silver. Gardens and terraces blur into shadow, the world below shaped only by the breathing of the sea and the distant call of a night bird. In a tranquil bedroom, lace curtains drift in the night air, a softly glowing lamp casting a gentle pool of light across the walls. A journal lies open, its pages waiting for dreams and memories. The world outside is still, the tide whispering a lullaby that fills the air with peace. Stars shimmer high above the Mediterranean, their light mirrored in the calm water below. The hours slip by in quiet procession, each one wrapped in the cool sweetness of night. The air is fragrant with jasmine and the timeless salt of the sea, every breath slow and easy, every sense wrapped in the hush of dreams. Soft light returns with morning, coloring the world in gentle hues. The pastel houses along the cliffs glow in the new day, their walls bathed in the first blush of sun. The lemon groves sparkle with dew, each leaf and fruit a bright promise in the early light. Far below, the sea rests in tranquil blue, a mirror for the waking sky. A fisherman drifts across the water, nets cast wide over the glassy surface. The only sound is the dip of oars and the quiet ripple of the tide, the world above stirring to the hush of another gentle day. In the village, the café fills again with the soft clatter of porcelain and the aroma of espresso. Voices are low, laughter easy, the morning unfolding with calm certainty. Streets wind between whitewashed walls, every corner brightened by geraniums. The air is alive with the scent of basil and the sweetness of the dawn, cobblestones cool beneath wandering feet. Stone steps climb through olive groves, sunlight flickering through silvery leaves, the path quiet in the hush of bird song and breeze. In the market square, baskets of fruit glow beneath the striped awnings, each tomato and fig set out with care. The sound of soft voices and the movement of linen in the breeze fill the air. The church welcomes the morning, stained glass painting the ancient stone in shifting color. The cool silence is a place for pause and thought. A courtyard waits in shade, orange blossoms drifting on the air. Water falls quietly from the fountain, the surface of the basin broken only by petals and the faintest ripple. Laundry lines sway above, linens moving in time with the wind, their scent fresh and bright. Pottery gleams on crowded shelves, each bowl a celebration of color shaped by gentle hands. The workshop is silent but for the memory of the kill's warmth, every piece bearing the mark of slow creation. Midday brings a shimmer to the turquoise water near the marina, boats rocking softly at anchor. The world moves at the rhythm of the tide, time stretching in easy, sun-warmed intervals. Lunch is simple, fresh bread, golden oil, slices of tomato, shared at a table in the cool shade, the laughter of friends rising in gentle cadence. A path lined with rosemary and jasmine climbs the hillside, the scent sharp and sweet in the sun. The view opens to sea and sky, a world faded to blue and gold. In the villa, The bedroom remains peaceful, linen sheets holding the last trace of lavender, the journal open to the day's quiet reflections. On the cliff, the artist sketches the sweep of the coast, each mark slow and sure, the landscape unfolding in light and shadow. The air is still, every sound softened by distance and time. Rain arrives quietly, a fine mist tracing the village in silver, the cool green hush settling over stone and leaf. The bakery's windows glow in the soft afternoon, trays of pastries warm in the golden light. The scent of bread is comforting, each loaf a quiet blessing on the table. As evening returns, terraces and gardens are bathed in the last rays of sun, roses and jasmine glowing in gentle shadow. Lanterns shimmer along the promenade, their lights reflected in the undulating tide. The air fills with quiet voices, the distant call of music, and the slow, sure rhythm of footsteps. Dinner is served beneath the sky, candlelight flickering on lemon and herbs, the scent of the sea a soft accompaniment to the night. Above, villages glow in the moonlight, each house a quiet beacon along the coast. The bedroom is hushed, lace curtains drifting as a lamp casts a warm circle over open pages. Outside, the tide whispers, the stars shimmer, and the world breathes in slow, restful rhythm, wrapped in the promise of gentle dreams and another day yet to begin.